Electone ME55A organ. Everything's really good with it. It's 35 years old, very, very good condition. But one of the pedals, or a couple of the pedals really, I have to push very hard to get them to operate. The white notes work very well, but the black notes I have to push really hard. Those first two, really uncomfortable to press. So it's a relatively easy fix. The first thing to do is get the pedals out, tip the organ up, and there are 3 screws to undo to get the pedal unit out. They're in very tightly. You'll need to be very careful how you undo these, because you don't want to round the heads of the screws. Get the right size screwdriver, and you need to be very, very firm to get these out. Once the screws are out, the whole pedal unit basically just slides towards the back, and then you can take it out. There's a connector at the top which you undo, unplug that, and then the whole unit is released and free. So the first thing I noticed was there was an awful lot of dust. So I thought I'd remove that first. As I would find out, there was a little bit more work to do, so I would end up dismantling the whole thing. So this is what I'm going to take you through in this video. First, to get the board out, there's 8 screws. Again, they're tight in with Loctite, so make sure you've got the right size screwdriver, and each of those will crack as it undoes as the Loctite breaks. But you can undo all of those 8 screws, and then the board will just lift off. So the board lifts off. This one was actually very, very clean. I've used some foam cleanser to clean all these contacts. I'd start off as well by cleaning the pedals. This was before I actually realised that I needed to replace the rubber washers. Foam cleanser is great stuff. It's available from Amazon and many other places. Just it's great for cleaning electrical equipment generally. So I'm wiping that board over. It was actually very clean. For 35 years, amazingly clean. So the rubber contacts that short the tracks on the PCB are these little plasticized rubber devices. These don't seem to be very worn at all, so they're perfectly good with a clean. I'll just use those and put those back. So the pedals come off just by undoing a nut. There's a screw on the bottom. Again, just hold a screwdriver in the bottom, spin the nut off, and then you can remove the pedal. On inspection of the rubber washer, which you can actually see from underneath, I found that the rubber washers were basically rotted away. Rubber deteriorates over years, so this is bound to happen. This one's just falling to pieces. So the rubber washers are all going to be replaced on this pedal board. So you can see here the remnants of the washer just coming out and breaking away. This was almost certainly what was causing the pedal to not operate properly. Nothing to do with the contacts, just purely these rubber washers that act as a pivot for the pedal. And if they're jammed up or gummed up, then the pedal can't move properly. So I've decided to remove all the contacts and the spacers where the screws went through for the PCB, take all those off, put those to one side, and then go about removing all of the pedals. I'm using an ultrasonic cleaner to clean the screws, all the brass parts, the nuts, the spacers. Just ultrasonic cleaner with some washing up liquid and warm water, and that will clean up those parts nicely. And for replacement washers, just using simple shower hose washers. These were available in packs of 5. The whole lot cost me about £2.30, and those will replace quite nicely. So first I'm going to reassemble the pedal, put the PCB on. Doesn't really matter which order you do it in, you could put the pedals back on. I've cleaned all the pedals and washed those in washing up liquid, taken all the parts off, cleaned them all, and I can reassemble the contacts, pop the spacers back in, and then replace the PCB. The PCB can only go on one way round. There are some locator pins as well as the screw holes, so you're not going to make a mistake. It will only seat down properly one way round, and the chassis itself is threaded, so those screws just go straight in. So as I put the screws in, I put them all in loose, and then once they're all in and in the right position, then I'll go over and tighten them all up properly. So now it's time to put the pedals back. The springs just sit in those holes on the pedals. So you can see the washer just fits onto the bolt. That will go into the back of the pedal. And then we fit the pedal into the locating lug, line up the spring with its lug, and then the screw will push through, and we can fit the retaining nuts on the top. Once it's fitted, the screw and the nut can be tightened up. Once the pedal board's assembled, the whole thing can be put back, and you should have a properly functioning pedal board, not requiring that heavy pressure that we needed before.